Underground Crypto.
Hey, it's the Underground Crypto back at it again. And Bitcoin's still on a tear. We look at the cryptocurrency market cap here. Over $1 trillion. So that's great news there. Great news! So if we check it out here, crypto market cap 1.06 trillion. Bitcoin at 41,000. Ethereum climbing its way up. And Stella, the sleeping giant, at 31 cents. And where we at? We are at within the top 10. Move. Get out the way. And Chainlink is doing a number here. Chainlink up almost $20. So look like it's climbing back to its high of a couple of months ago. But Stella moving all these coins out the way, so we will see Stella appreciate in the months to come here. So back in the top 10, this is a good sign here for cryptocurrency, for Stella, the sleeping giant. So for today's show, Bitcoin 5x, XLM 10x. And we're going to talk about why that could be the case within 3 to 6 months. Not a financial advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. All right, but we're going to talk about it. And we already know Bitcoin up 300% in 2020. XLM did good numbers as well. So we're going to talk about how this is possible. And as a reminder, I will be doing the 500 XLM, so I'll be announcing maybe someone tomorrow or in the week for the next 100 XLM giveaway as part of the 500 XLM giveaway. Brian XLM, reach out to me. I sent you a message. Hit me up on the email. All right, so we're going to dive into how this is possible. So Bitcoin already jumped in a month 20,000 to 40,000. Stella XLM 8 cents to 33 cents, 31 cents. And we're going to talk about it. So potential impacts for this year, 2021. There's a lot that will continue the drive of Bitcoin and the alts to continue to keep going up and up. And one thing that we need to talk about is the global debt. So as of July 2020, the global debt was $258 trillion. That's going to continue to rise. With COVID's on a tear. And everything the government continues to spend. Right? So that's one. Number two, fiscal spending is up globally. $9 trillion as of May 2020. United States fiscal spending will increase. Joe Biden's taken the helm in the Dems. They now have control of the Senate. What does that mean? Massive spending. So there is the $600 stimulus check that came out. They're talking about another $2,000 stimulus going out. So what's going to happen? More and more debt. Also, yields on CDs, money markets, bonds, stocks, and dividends will be low to none. Inflation percentage will rise. And we're going to look at the inflation here. There are 4 types of inflation. Right now, I think inflation's at 2%. So we have the creeping mild inflation. Prices rise 3% a year or less. So I think we're here. And we have the walking inflation. We may end in the zombie inflation area. So prices rise 3 to 10% a year. And we have galloping inflation. Prices rise greater than 10%. And hyperinflation over 50% a month. So we're in this creeping mild inflation area. Could lead to the walking inflation. So that's something that we need to pay attention to. Prices of foods and goods rising. Also, the stock market potentially inflated. We saw back in March, it went flat, took a big dive, and then got inflated by the government around the world to ensure everything looks nice and pretty. So there could be a potential of a stock market crash. Now, when you do see these big time investors pulling out their money, you got to ask why, because they know what's up. So you got to keep an eye on that. That leads us to our next point. Investors, they're scared. If the stock market could potentially take another nosedive like in March, and governments, all the money they propped into the stock market to make it look nice and pretty, they pull it out, where do you put your money? Right? So a safe haven to store money is required. It could be either gold or Bitcoin, old grandpa. And we know gold's performance has been very slow. We're going to look at that. We're going to look at gold's return. And we know Bitcoin's very volatile. But investors need to put their money somewhere. All right? We also know the fiat system is archaic, slow, and costly. People don't want to touch money. They don't want to touch cash. No physical touch there. So this brings us to all eyes on cryptocurrency. All eyes on me, Tupac, right? So all eyes on cryptocurrency. And Bitcoin kind of like, we see this here where we have the zombie. This reminds me of what Bitcoin is doing right now. It's turning all the big time whales and investors into zombie. Like Bitcoin, I need to me some Bitcoin, give me some Bitcoin. That's what they sound like. That's what they doing. So everyone's doing it. So we go to FOMO, fear of missing out. So other corporations, other whales, other billionaires are going to do the same thing. Like, hey, what is Jimmy doing? Jimmy just dumped some money in Bitcoin? All right, put an order in. So Bitcoin has possessed the wealthy that it's the number one safe haven asset. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies outperforms other assets. This is why they're looking at it, and this is why potentially we can 5x and 10x. A hedge against inflation, because inflation, we looked at, I think we're in the creeping mild inflation area, 2%, climbing to the walking inflation. So Bitcoin is seen to be a hedge against inflation. And the mainstream media, they're talking about it because Bitcoin's been blasting 20,000, 30,000, 40,000. This is going super all the way to the top. Mainstream media's talking about it. More people's going to say, hey, let's just jump into some Bitcoin then. And we've been seeing huge returns and swing trades. People are making a lot of money. So that's why you're seeing Bitcoin swinging up and down. People are buying, hits a price point. All right, good, sell. Now it's dip, you buy. You put your sell in, hits your profit point, sell. But it's going to continue to climb while the swing trades happen. And the altcoins, we have smart contracts. They're the future. Cross-border payments with Stellar, XLM, and banks, and the unbanked, artificial intelligence, and other smart utilities. So all eyes are on cryptocurrency. Now, if we look at where all of the world's money and markets, this is back in May 2020. And we're going to look at how cryptocurrency just has a small, not even slice, maybe just a drop in the bucket. So this was back in May 2020. It was 244 billion. We could see now it's at over $1 trillion, finally. We could see silver where it was at. Gold. We can see where gold's at here. 10 trillion. Stock market, 89 trillion. So we can see cryptocurrency has a lot of room to run. And now when these investors, hedge fund managers, and whales, they're going to like, oh, we need to move it out of the stock market. Let's move the 89 trillion into cryptocurrency. We're going to see this increase. And it's already increased. All major asset class performance in 2020. So we can look at the returns. Let's look at the returns here. Gold, 24%. It's decent. It's a good amount, 24%. I'll take it. Silver's been kicking ass right here, 47%. U.S. stocks, 15%. This is, I think overall, I think Tesla, Google, and some others were way higher than this, but an overall asset class, 15%. Right? The rest weak. Look, U.S. dollar minus. The U.S. dollar is weak. Now if we go to Bitcoin, 300%. So this is what they're seeing. This is what they are seeing. And we also look at the total wealth by country in 2019, and we can see the United States with a lot of money. And if the stock market is inflated, all this money needs to move somewhere. China, we could see China, Japan, United Kingdom, Canada. The money will need to move. And it has to move to cryptocurrency. It will move to Bitcoin. It will move to the alts. So now if we dive a little bit deeper, we've been talking about this already. So cryptocurrency has the smallest percentage of the world's money, currently at 1 trillion. Bitcoin market cap is at 744 billion. We mentioned that the stock market is 89 trillion. Narrow money, which is world's easily accessible money, 35.2 trillion. This is as of May 27, 2020. And broad money, total value of the world's money, 95.7 trillion. So there's a lot of room to run for Bitcoin. And the alts, they're going to run. Money's going to move. And when you see how much money there is around the world, you can tell that, yes, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, stellar, alts, a lot of room to run. We already see it running from 244 billion to over $1 trillion. Close to $1 trillion in a year. So how are we going to do it? So this is what some people are talking about right now. Old grandpa, Bitcoin. Potentially 5x in 3 to 6 months. What does that mean? So the current price is 40,000. In 3 to 6 months, we are eyeing 200,000. Right now, it's very believable. Because we can see the market cap here was 744 billion. And for us to get to 3.7 trillion, that's not that much. It's not that much when you look at where the world's money is at. Right? There's a lot of money. A lot of money in the stock market. A lot of narrow money that we looked at. So this is not impossible at all. I'm even hearing $1 million per Bitcoin. That's something we're going to talk about tomorrow if I drop that video. So now we look at Stella's market cap. It just has to get to 65 billion. I think right now, let me see what it's at. I think it's around, let's see. So the market cap is at 7 billion. For it to then get to 65 billion, that's not that far off. So we're saying 30 cents to $3. That's not that far off. Stella the Sleeping Giant. $3 will become realistic. So this is not too far off. A lot of people are saying Stellar at $100, $300. This is a realistic number, $3 in 3 to 6 months, where we see all of the world's money. And with that, I was discussing with a friend what are the different ways to accumulate cryptocurrency. And I will be launching undergroundcrypto.net in February, and I'll be showing ways how you can do this. So there's ways that you can gain Bitcoin in an automated fashion. So I'm actually doing this right now. Day trade, swing trade, which we talked about in previous videos, and HODL, your HODL bag, long-term bag. So there's actually 3 ways. It's probably more than that. But right now we're just showing 3 ways. So we're going to look at a video where it's going to talk about why investors are buying Bitcoin. Right? We're going to play this video clip and we're going to chop it up. We're going to talk about it. This is Anthony Pompliano. I probably screwed up his last name there, of Morgan Creek. And he's going to, let's really listen to this video because he's spitting some knowledge. He has a lot of knowledge on this topic. Turn up your speakers.
I've gone around and banged the drum saying, look, Bitcoin is a non-correlated asymmetric asset and should serve as a great safe haven. And so in March, immediately when Bitcoin drew down literally 50% in a single day at one point, everyone started yelling and screaming saying, oh, that's been disproven. But I wrote this piece publicly and said that during a kind of economic crisis or an uncertainty, it's a liquidity crisis. And so every asset goes down. Gold went down double digits, Bitcoin went down double digits, the stock market went down double digits, etc. And so during that period, investors are scared and they want dollars. And so they just look around their portfolio and say, anything that has liquid market attached to it, I'm selling it. And so that happened. It was a very, very rapid depreciation of almost every asset world other than dollars. And you saw that strengthening dollar. Now, as soon as the government stepped in, just like in 2008, 2009, when the government stepped in, gold had already dropped about 30% over the summer of 2008. Then gold rallied and ended up hitting an all-time high and had depreciated about 200% by 2011. And here with Bitcoin, there was this crisis, sells off, government steps in, and now all of a sudden you've got people running back into those inflation hedge assets. Gold's been up about 20, 25%. Bitcoin now is up, I think it's like 800% in the last 2 years, over 300% in 2020. And I think that you're just starting to see more and more investors looking for those inflation hedges because the monetary stimulus is not going to stop. And so I think Bitcoin not only has done well over the last 2 years, but will continue to do well going through the rest of 2021.
And there he kicks it there. He breaks it down there. What we spoke about for the past 10 minutes and everything. So it's going to continue. They need a hedge against inflation. They're scared. The investors are scared. They need to put their money somewhere. All right, so she's going to ask him another question, and we're going to talk about that.
Say to critics who are staying away from Bitcoin because they don't believe the use case is convincing?
Yeah, look, there's 2 things that a currency is used for, right? One is a store of value and 2 is a medium of exchange. From a store of value standpoint, there's over 100 million people who hold this. You now have everyone from Fidelity to Paul Tudor Jones to Stanley Druckenmiller and many other smart folks who have decided that it is worth holding. And then in a medium of exchange standpoint, the on-chain adjusted transaction volume of Bitcoin was greater last year than the annual transaction volume of Venmo, PayPal, or Apple Pay. So there was more usage of the Bitcoin payment rails than some of the most popular fintech products. And so it's kind of like the Yogi Berra quote that is basically, oh, nobody goes to that restaurant, it's always too busy. Well, no, there are people using this, and it's been a kind of misconception of Bitcoin that there are no use cases. But what we're actually seeing is not only are the retail users using this for payments of goods and services, but now we're even seeing corporations, there's Square, MicroStrategy, putting this on their balance sheets. And you're starting to see the narrative change very quickly. And Bitcoin is transitioning from what used to be kind of a contrarian idea or a contrarian trade to a consensus trade. And I think that's where you're getting this repricing of the asset and kind of the rapid price appreciation.
So there you have it. I kind of agree with some of what he said there. There is a use case for Bitcoin, but there's more use case for the alts. Don't know yet. They don't know what Ethereum can do. They don't know what Stellar, the sleeping giant, can do. They don't know what VeChain can do. They don't know what Cardano can do. All they know is Bitcoin right now. So let them eat up Bitcoin, keep pushing the price, and we're going to ride with them to the top, straight to the top. All right, that's a wrap for today. Let me know what you think of today's show. And remember to subscribe, like the video, comment to be entered in the 100 XLM giveaway. All right, that's a wrap for today. Stand clear of the closing doors. The next stop for Stella is the moon. Let's get it.
We don't have that much competition. They would use Stellar to make their payments faster.